The Truther Girls.
Hi everyone, it's the Truther Girl, Sonia here. I wanted to give you a little update on a story that I've been following, which is very weird. Canada as a national security threat to the United States. President Trump says that Canada poses a national security threat to the United States. He has therefore imposed tariffs of 25% on imported Canadian steel products and 10% on Canadian aluminum products. Okay, this is the way it's always worked. This is what my secret opinion has always been. That Canada has been America's bitch. I mean, excuse me for saying. But it was like whatever the US decided, Canada went along with it. Do you remember right after 9/11 where there was this big map about how the world stacked up in relation to the US after 9/11? And the closest allies and greatest supporters was Canada. And so now we're a threat to national security. Trump obviously doesn't know Canadians. He should come up here. We're not a threat to anyone. We, after all, are the nation that invented the Canadian standoff, which is where when two people get to the door and neither one wants to go first, after you, no, after you, no, after you, because we're so polite. And now we're a threat to national security. And in another article, they were saying that Trump had mentioned that Canada tried to burn the White House down, which was like in 1813 or something. I think he was joking. Well, I hope so. Anyway, he wasn't joking about the tariffs, and that didn't go over well at all. I just want to scream. Trump's metal tariffs send corporate Canada reeling in disbelief. We're like trade buddies. You know, America gets our water, our lumber, aluminum, steel. And it's like that was supposed to be a good thing. They needed the stuff and they were getting it from us. And so now it's like, oh, if you want to sell that to us, you're going to have to pay a tariff. Well, Canada retaliated and they imposed tariffs on America on Worcester sauce, maple syrup, and toilet paper. Bit of an eccentric list, don't you think? Somewhere they were having this big meeting and they're like, let's see, what shall we impose tariffs on? And then they decided, let's hit them where it hurts, right in the maple balls. Hey, it hurts us too when we can't get the American toilet paper, let me tell you. Maple syrup, we're okay, we're good. We have plenty of that, but the toilet paper and the Worcester sauce, not good. Anyway, that whole thing was so weird. I could hardly believe it was even happening. I felt like I was on acid watching the news. Is this real? Like, I felt like I had gone into Wonderland where all the politicians were crazy and were doing really strange things. Trump's always been weird, but this was really over the top. Oh, you tried to burn down the White House. You're a threat to national security. We're going to impose a tariff. And Trudeau's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to impose a tariff on toilet paper. How do you like that? Which is weird because toilet paper is made out of wood and the wood comes from Canada. So why don't we just make our own toilet paper? Anyway, it gets weirder because the recent development is Trump calls for elimination of tariffs. End to US being world's piggy bank. Let's get rid of all the tariffs. Now all of a sudden he wants everything to be all free trade and no tariffs, but he's the one who just put the tariffs on, what, like last week? Why? Because, well, he was speaking at the G7, and I think what happened was his whole idea, wherever he got it from, wasn't popular with the G7 leaders. G7 leaders had intended to use the summit to confront Trump on tariffs, which they have described as protectionistic and a threat to the global economy. You see? The globalists didn't like it. So Trump said he discussed the idea of eliminating tariffs with his G7 counterparts. I did suggest it. I guess they're going to go back to the drawing board and check it out, Trump said. The relationships are very good, he added, mentioning his discussions with French and Canadian leaders specifically. Okay, so now he wants to get rid of tariffs. The United States will not allow other countries to impose massive tariffs and trade barriers on its farmers, workers, and companies, while sending their products into our country tax-free. We have put up with trade abuse for many decades, and that's long enough. But why take it out on Canada? What did we ever do? But wait, what's this? Trump refuses to endorse G7 communique, threatens Canada with more tariffs. He's flipping. He's flopping. He says that Justin Trudeau's statements on the G7 communique were false, And based on the fact that Canada is charging massive tariffs to our U.S. farmers, workers, and companies, I have instructed our U.S. reps not to endorse the communique as we look at tariffs on automobiles flooding the U.S. market. Oh, he says our tariffs are in response to his, meaning Justin Trudeau's, 270% on dairy. I see, yeah, because Canada doesn't want to receive American milk because we have our own dairy farmers here, and obviously we're about a tenth the size, not geographically, but population-wise, we're a tenth the size of America. So I guess they're trying to discourage our market being flooded with American milk. So that's what this is about? Wait a minute, he wants to make sure there's no tariffs imposed on America. So he imposes a ridiculous tariff on Canada, and the result is now everybody wants to get rid of tariffs. Maybe he did it on purpose. That's about the only thing that would make sense. See, I can kind of understand the whole thing about the tariffs. You know, the lack of tariffs, the free trade, that's the whole globalist agenda. And the problem with that is it sort of undermines local economies, right? Because then you can have these big multinationals that can just deal with any country as if they were dealing within their own country. So I think maybe Trump was protectionistic. Yeah, maybe he was trying to protect American steel and American aluminum. But you know what? In this day and age, it just doesn't go over well. And now even he has backed down and is saying, let's just get rid of tariffs altogether. So I guess that's just what happened. Or maybe he hasn't backed down from anything. He's just the biggest globalist of all, and this has all been part of his cunning plan. So anyway, it was weird though. I'm glad we're still going to be getting our toilet paper, let me tell you. So let me know what you think, and thanks for liking this video. Thank you for your support on Patreon. Thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.